E se eu te falar que nós, os jogadores, somos representados canonicamente na Lore de ARK? Pois é, o Bob é muito mais do que um personagem, ele é a personificação de cada sobrevivente que já pisou nessas ilhas. No vídeo de hoje, vamos mergulhar no que a DLC Bob's Tall Tales trouxe de novo, indo muito além de apenas itens e criaturas. No meu último vídeo, exploramos a lore atualizada até o Lost Colony, e se você não viu ainda, recomendo assistir para não perder nenhuma referência. Hoje, preparei um quadro especial para organizarmos cronologicamente onde cada aventura do Bob se encaixa. Nossa história começa logo após os eventos finais, com a Helena apresentando Bob para Meeka como a peça-chave para o futuro da humanidade. Para Meeka, o tio Bob é um porto seguro, um alívio contra o excesso de proteção de seu pai, Santiago. Percebendo que ela está irritada, o Bob decide abrir o baú de memórias e contar como tudo realmente começou.
You know, kid, sooner or later, you're gonna have to talk about it. What are you drawing over there, anyway? Hey, that's not bad. And this is you over here, with this dum-dum?
Don't be mean to Honker! No, I don't want to talk about him.
He's your dad, Meeka. Now, I may not know a lot, and I made plenty of my own mistakes back in my day, but I do know one thing. Families gotta stick together.
Well, why don't you go tell him not to be such a stinky dino goon?
That's just not how it works, Meeka. Look, maybe old Uncle Bob here can shed some light on the situation, about why the big man thinks the way he does.
Wait, you knew my dad before all this? So, were you also on the, what did he call them? The ARKs?
Yeah, those. Say, have I ever told you the story about how Dad and I saved everyone together?
You were there? You were one of the heroes?
Well, yeah, sure. In fact, you might say that I was the most important part of the whole story.
Okay.
Go ask Santiago yourself if you don't believe
No!
me.
I want you to tell me, Uncle Bob.
All right, then. Let's start at the very beginning. On a faraway tropical island surrounded by sparkling blue water. That island was the first time I ever saw big, dumb lizards like Honker here. And it was the first place I ran into her. So there I was, whizzing through the sky, when this sparkly lady flies right up alongside me, and she tells me,
Bob, you're the greatest guy ever. You have to stay alive so you can save everyone.
How are you supposed to save a whole world all by yourself?
well, now, I did have a little help from my friends. Little Miss Professor here, and the doc there. But maybe that's a story for another time. I mean, you gotta have some chores to get back to, right?
I already did them, I swear!
Great. Guess I'll just, keep retelling these true tales about Bob's amazing adventures.
Yeah!
Para tentar ajudar Meeka a entender o lado do seu pai, o Bob a chama por uma conversa franca. No começo ela é relutante, afinal, Santiago pode ser bem difícil às vezes, mas Bob tem aquele jeito de convencimento que só ele tem. Ele revela algo que a Meeka nem imaginava. Bob esteve nas Arcas com Santiago e entende perfeitamente por que ele é desse jeito. Ele até solta a famosa frase de que família é o que importa, bem no estilo Toretto, antes de começar a contar tudo do comecinho. A história começa em uma ilha paradisíaca, cercada por águas cristalinas e infestada de dinossauros. Foi lá que ele fez amizade com Helena Walker e, ao escapar dessa primeira arca, recebeu a visita de um ser brilhante. Hoje, nós sabemos que esse ser era Helena em sua forma de Homo-Deus, e ela deixou um recado claro: o Bob seria uma peça fundamental para salvar a humanidade. E com esse mistério no ar, Bob termina a história do dia e manda Meeka de volta para suas tarefas, preparando o terreno para as verdadeiras histórias fantásticas que viriam a seguir. Em um novo dia, Meeka não perde tempo e já vai logo pedindo para o tio Bob continuar sua história. Ela está curiosa para saber qual foi o próximo destino depois da ilha. E Bob não economiza nos detalhes. Ele prepara bem o terreno, avisando que seria uma história de sobrevivência bruta, no lugar onde o sol não tinha piedade.
So after that island, where did you go next? Oh, I bet it was somewhere exciting.
Before we keep going, I was thinking maybe you want to let your dad know where you ran off to?
I don't want to think about him at all. I want to hear more stories. Uncle Bob.
Okay. How about a story with spurs and six-shooters and all that?
Yeah, that sounds wild.
Darling, you don't know the half of it, but whatever the danger, Bob still managed to show the wild and woolly wastelands who was boss.
Whoa, now we're talking.
Place was hotter than heck, and all that dang dust had a way of working its way up your, nose. Point is, I was gonna have to get lean and mean if I was fixing to tame anything in that forsaken desert.
Bob descreve um cenário inóspito, cheio de monstros gigantes e muitos tiroteios. Ele começa a contar como a sorte, ou a falta dela, o jogou no meio desse deserto esquecido por Deus.
Where was I? Oh yeah, suddenly I found myself smack in the middle of this scorching hot desert. No time to worry over how I ended up there or why. All I knew was I had to run for cover.
Wasn't it too hot to be running around?
Am I telling the story or are you?
Sorry, keep going.
Anyway, yeah, it was too hot to run around like that, and I burnt myself out quick. I knew I was a goner, unless I could scrounge up something to drink, and pronto. Now, before you judge me on this next part, you've got to understand it was a life or death situation. Because when I thought I saw a big whiskey jug sloshing around on 6 legs, I sort of lost what was left of my pride. And well, there's no good way to say this. Took a drink from it.
Ew, gross.
Made that jug bug jump a mile. Not that I blame it. Who'd have guessed something that big could even fly anyway? At least I knew where to find water now. After I had my fill of drinking from bug behinds, I decided to try for one of the camel lizards I saw waddling around that sand pit. It was probably an easier way to break the dumb beast than smacking him upside the head and force-feeding him. But that's what worked for me back on the island. Anyways, I guess I finally hit one in its noggin enough time for it to think we were pals.
Aww.
Reckon I'll spare you knowing how I figured out a way of drinking from those smelly humps.
Ugh, nasty.
Without warning, the sandstorm kicked up. I'm talking howling wind. Lightning had me going in circles, trying like heck to find a place to hide. Thought I was done for when Humpty dropped dead on me. Until I spotted a cave that looked like the promised land.
Poor Humpty.
I tripped over a bunch of eggs lying around inside and thought I'd hit the jackpot. And that's when Mama, an honest-to-gosh dragon, turned up.
Oh no.
She was none too happy about me scrambling up her babies.
Bet you barely got out of that one without becoming her breakfast. No scrambled Bob on the menu that day.
Right about when I'd almost given up hope, I spotted little Miss Professor again. Somehow she'd wound up in that dust patch with me, which probably meant that the doc was around someplace too.
Bet she was glad to see you.
Of course, yeah. But now I had someone else to look after, which can be, exhausting. But before I could come up with a plan to save us, this crazy desert witch showed up with a dragon. That dragon witch sure seemed glad I came along when I did. Turned out her town needed a new sheriff, on account of the giant bugs that kept attacking the place.
What's a sheriff?
Someone who'd protect regular townsfolk, whether it was from rustlers, bandits, or, in this case, bug monsters. I didn't have much of a choice, so I let the witch pin a star on me and set me up with a trusty 6-shooter. Now that I was the law in that forsaken outpost, I could see I was gonna have to do a bit of pest control. So I called out the biggest bug and told them they best skedaddle before sundown, lest I commenced stepping on them. Now that I had the whole gang's attention, I backed up a few paces and told the gang leader to slap leather.
To do what?
The figure of speech, darling, means we're about to have us a good old-fashioned shootout. The big bug bandit reached for his pistol, but I had the quicker draw. A couple of his compadres tried to take revenge. Wasn't much of a fair fight. None of them so much as got a beat on me before I dropped all 4 of them in the dust with their pal. The rest of them scampered off. So I yelled to the ladies that it was safe to come out. And that's when old Doc Rockwell showed up again. After I stopped the bugs from ransacking that whistle stop, I guess I thought maybe I'd found a place worth building up into something. That's when the witch piped up to tell us why it wasn't worth getting attached to no place there.
Oh no, why?
Said she and her friends had a regular boom town going across the desert that got blown to heck by something in the sky. She offered to fly us to see the ruins for ourselves. Not sure why I let the professor and the doc talk me into that. After seeing them ruins up close for myself, we decided it probably was time for us to mosey along. We were saying our goodbyes when that thing dropped in. The witch called it a manticore, or maybe a manticlops. Anyway, whatever you want to call it. It caused a real ruckus. I like to think we made it sorry for messing with us. But I must have been knocked upside the head during our tussle, because I don't remember the next part so good. Somehow, I was tumbling through the sky again, heading elsewhere in a hurry.
Bob reviveu seus dias de xerife, reencontrou a senhorita professora, Helena, e o velho doutor, Rockwell, e conheceu Raya, ou bruxa como ele prefere chamar. Ele sentiu na pele como os obeliscos são impiedosos, destruindo qualquer equilíbrio que os sobreviventes tentassem criar. No fim, ele escapou por um triz, depois de ser nocauteado pela mantícora, que ele não aprendeu o nome até hoje. Mas Meeka percebeu que Bob contou tudo, menos como conheceu o pai dela. Ele desconversa e avisa, a próxima parte da história é onde as coisas ficam sombrias, e dão pesadelos até mesmo em um casca-grossa como ele.
So, that's how I went from squeezing water from a cactus to fighting a Mandy Whatsit in a ghost town.
Wicked.
Just goes to show, you gotta stay ready for the unexpected. And you always need to stick by the folks who have your back.
Didn't you say you tamed the wastes all by your lonesome?
Well, I had some help.
Oh yeah. You still haven't told me where you met, him.
Oh, wouldn't you rather hear that story from the big guy himself?
No way! Unlike you, he's got no sense of humor.
You just sit tight while your Uncle Bob thinks about how to tell this next part without giving nightmares.
But I like scary stories!
Hey, no, I was talking about it giving me nightmares. See, this is the point in our story where things get dark. Real dark.
Awesome!
Mais um dia se passa na fogueira, e o pedido de Meeka continua o mesmo. Ela quer saber como Bob conheceu seu pai. Então Bob resolve abrir o jogo e começa a contar o que ele chama de A Jornada ao Centro da Arca Perdida.
Maybe it's a good thing. You drawing all the crazy mischief I got up to in the old days. Might help me remember things better. Next time some kid starts hanging around me like a bad smell, pestering me for my dumb tales.
I'm just visiting with Honker here.
Fine by me.
But you did say you had a really scary story next. About the place where you met... him?
Yeah. Well, your old man's gonna come looking for me. He finds out I gave you bad dreams.
Like he'd even notice how I feel.
Well, no need for my name to even come up, is all I'm saying.
Quit stalling.
Okay. How about we call this one Journey to the Center of the Broken Ark?
As long as it's the scary version.
Careful what you wish for. Things got weird and dark down there. Especially for poor Doc Rockwell.
What did he do that was so bad?
The guy got a little too curious for his own good. Messed around with some mumbo-jumbo he shouldn't have. He wouldn't listen to anyone that tried to warn him, neither.
Well, I'm listening to you, and I want to know all about it.
Meeka implora para a história ser tão assustadora quanto Bob prometeu. Bob então pede para ela tomar cuidado com o que deseja, pois era a parte em que a história ficaria mais sombria, principalmente para o doutor.
We fell for what seemed like forever. It turned out that pit had a bottom after all.
Whoa. Were you guys scared?
At first, things were more weird than scary down there, like something out of the funny pages. Little Miss Professor and the Doc couldn't get enough of it all. Doc Rockwell, in particular, kept wandering deeper and deeper in where I couldn't keep an eye on him. Anyways, before I could round up those two eggheads, the whole place started spinning and shaking itself to pieces, like we were on the world's biggest tilt-a-whirl.
No fair. You just got there.
Funny thing, all that shaking left a bunch of stuff lying around. What I could see was gonna come in handy.
Huh. Lucky you.
Well, with nothing much down there but rocks and fungus, we were gonna need some luck.
Ugh, gross. Mushrooms.
Not a fan myself, but Doc Rockwell said, gonna need to adapt to survive. Not sure why I ever listened to that old kook. Suddenly felt like I was on the sauce again, except worse. A lot worse. Those red spotty shrooms were bad news, but some of the others turned out to be okay. We just had to see what the local wildlife would eat.
Well, then I guess I would have started. No mushrooms for me.
Be glad you get to be picky, kid. That means you're well fed. In fact, you'd be surprised what you're willing to eat when you're starving for real. Just like chicken.
Poor Bobby.
So I had things mostly under control before that scary dame showed me up in her fancy armor.
Ooh, who is she?
Someone from back on that jungle island. The Beast Queen, she called herself. Little Miss Professor was making a big deal about her still being alive.
But where'd she get the armor?
Turned out our Beast Queen had a whole squad of roughnecks from the future backing her up.
Whoa.
So yeah, there were people from the future on that ark.
My future?
No. I mean, the future to me. But what do I know? I'm just some grunt who bought the big one in 1944. Anyway, you'll never guess who was in charge of their outfit.
My dad.
Huh. Yeah, that's where old Santiago and I met for the very first time. I introduced him to my pals. Not that Doc even noticed. He was too busy gawking at all the shiny toys those future people had brought to the camp.
I would be too.
Sure you would. That's the problem. So at first, I guess your old man was having trouble puzzling out the crazy super science running the arks. Santiago said the ark's tech was from further into the future than his own time, but he still thought he could get it to work for us.
I guess Dad didn't have any rules against using tech back then.
Not so sure about that. His people had to rush underground after your dad messed up on the first try. And cooked everything topside. The whole surface of the Ark went up in flames. Santiago wanted another crack at it and asked if we wanted in. I couldn't exactly say no. Not in front of the ladies. Gotta keep up my reputation and all.
I want to hear more about the girls in Dad's camp. Back on that Ark.
Oh yeah? Let's see. I told you about Little Miss Professor Helena and the Beast Queen. Those two seemed real close until this pilot from the future showed up, Diana. And suddenly Helena was the odd one out.
Really? Huh.
Then again, after we all got to know each other better, there was something between Diana and Santiago, too.
Ooh.
Almost like they'd known each other before. Probably more of that future gobbledygook that gives me a headache. Still, Diana decided to hang back at the camp, while the other two ladies and me went along on Santiago's crazy mission. Don't think Diana trusted old Doc Rockwell. He'd been acting extra squirrely by then, and she seemed worried that he'd gone completely off his nut. Good instincts, hers.
Good instincts.
We had our marching orders. But before Santiago took us topside, we had to suit ourselves up in that shiny future armor of theirs. Supposedly radiation from space would have cooked us otherwise. Didn't much like the sound of that. I never did tan that well. Even armored up, we had to wait until things cooled down after dark before we could follow your dad outside. Things didn't go exactly as planned, but we did manage to get into a big, creepy lab with tanks full of sleeping animals, and people were stored there too. We covered your dad while he did his thing, but before we had a chance to celebrate, we got a message that something bad went down back at camp.
Oh no. Was Diana okay?
Your dad did something that, beamed us straight back to camp, but we were still too late to save Diana.
What? What happened?
Turned out she was right not to trust Doc Rockwell. He found some goop deep down in the caves. He used it to change himself into something straight out of a creature feature.
Rockwell killed her?
Yup. And scampered off somewhere down in the dark. Coward that he was. Because he knew we weren't gonna let him get away with what he'd done. We could barely keep up with the Beast Queen. She really took it hard what Rockwell did to her. Good friend.
But you found him, right?
What was left of the poor guy. And then put that twisted freak out of his misery. And ours. We were sure glad we'd never have to deal with him again. So it was all over by the time your dad caught up with us. To say he'd rigged a way for us to leave that Ark behind for Earth. Believe you me, spoke for all of us when he said he wanted to forget all about the place. Especially that creepy cargo hold we found, full of clones. Wasn't great finding out for sure we weren't the original Bob or Santiago. How many times have we died and been brought back already? Just thinking about it gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Brought back.
Bob detalhou como foi sobreviver naquele buraco, vivendo de cogumelos duvidosos até ser resgatado pela tribo Tech de Santiago. Aqui também ficamos sabendo do background do Bob. Ele foi um soldado que serviu na Segunda Guerra, lá em 1944. E para ele foi um choque descobrir que todos ali eram clones, cópias de si mesmo, presas em um ciclo infinito. Enquanto o grupo tentava reativar o dispositivo de fuga, o Rockwell cruzou a linha final. Ele se tornou aquela abominação de tentáculos e tirou a vida de Diana. Sem mais nada a ser feito e com a Mei focada em vingança, Santiago ativou o portal, mandando todos direto para onde tudo começou, a Velha Terra. Meeka ficou impressionada sobre todos serem clones e o Tech ter a capacidade de trazê-los de volta, mas Bob logo corta suas asinhas, dizendo que o Tech não era brincadeira e ele já tinha presenciado o estrago que ele era capaz de fazer. Mas isso seria história para uma outra hora.
all just clowns?
Clones. Copies of our original selves, but with our memories and, I don't know, maybe our souls too. Who knows? It's all way beyond this GI's pay grade.
Copies of our souls?
Meeka, listen, kid. These are just dumb stories. I don't know the half of what actually went on down there.
No, that part was true. I can tell. If we are clones, if we all died, and Tech brought us back, then we could use it to bring back other lost people, right? Yeah! Yeah!
Hey now, the doc wanted to bring someone back with that stuff. Didn't work out so good for him, did it?
You said Rockwell was from the wrong time to even know how to use tech. But my dad...
Your dad was from the right time. But he and I saw up close how that crap wrecked the whole damn world.
Language?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Anyhow, that story can wait. Right now, you need to find something for your pal Honker here to eat.
Okay...
Atta girl. Because this next bit, well, it's filled with some tough memories for old Bob.
Num certo dia, Bob percebe que a Meeka está mais aborrecida do que o normal, descontando a raiva no excesso de proteção do pai. Para tentar aliviar o clima e mostrar o valor de Santiago, ele decide contar a cartada final, a história de como eles voltaram para casa e ajudaram a salvar o que restou do mundo.
Ah, there you are. Was wondering where you two got off to.
Yeah.
Well, don't you want to hear about how me and your old man saved the world? The first world, I mean. Earth? Santiago's told you about Earth, right?
Yeah, but Dad's not like he was in your stories, okay? Now he's just this mean guy who lies to everyone and keeps stuff from us.
Look, kid, being chief's all about making hard choices. I know I'd never want that job.
You'd make better choices, and you wouldn't destroy what everyone wants.
Everyone?
Okay, what I wanted.
Listen, I get that you're mad at him now. But Santiago was there for your Uncle Bob when it counted. Take it from a guy who's been in his fair share of firefights. Having someone who's got your back is worth all the aggravation. Well, there's some folks who never find their people. It ain't easy trying to survive out there all by your lonesome.
I guess.
Now, where was I? Oh yeah. So it survived everything else, just to wind up in a high-octane chrome-knuckle junkyard dogfight over the last scraps on Earth.
Okay, yeah!
Depois de convencer a Meeka de que ser chefe exige escolhas difíceis que ninguém quer fazer, Bob começou sua última história fantástica.
After all we'd gone through to get back to Earth, it was a real kick in the gut to see how dead the place was. I hadn't been there since WW2, but we were seeing what was left after the final war.
Oh.
We got there too late to save anybody. Everything was in ruins, and there was no one around but ghosts.
Ooh, that's awful. So what did you do?
At that point, not much else left to do, except dig in and try and start over. But at least we wouldn't have to do that from scratch. See, the people around at the end left a lot of salvageable junk behind for us. And like they say, one man's trash.
Is another person's trash?
Now that we had set up base camp, our little tribe of misfits realized we were gonna need a chief. Naturally, everyone turned to me first, but I nipped that idea in the bud real quick. I told him thanks, but no thanks.
I still think you'd be great at it.
Thanks, doll. But honestly, I just didn't want the headaches that come with that job. Had enough responsibility in the army back in my day. No one else seemed to want it either. Maybe that's why they held the boat while your dad was, chopping logs. Once your dad was head honcho, he decided to put everyone to work, scrounging the ruins for scrap. Gave us a whole shopping list of stuff to find for him. Said he wanted to build a faster way to get around. We weren't sure yet how safe we were, even inside the city walls, or what was left of him. So, he sent us out in twos. I got paired up with the Beast Queen, who wasn't much fun to be around after we lost Diana. And I'm sure she wasn't happy getting stuck with me either. After scavenging a while, we found a fountain that was still working somehow. And I said, maybe we should name the park around it for her pilot friend. That didn't exactly cheer her up, though I think she liked having somewhere to lay flowers and remember her good buddy.
I like that too.
Around that time, your old man took me with him on a scouting mission into the city ruins. We hiked up ramp after ramp until it must have been halfway to the sky. From up there, we could make out broken domes across the wasteland, with floating towers just like the ones on the arcs. While we were watching, there was this loud noise and something came crashing down out in the wastes. I could see the gears turning in Santiago's head before he finally spoke up. That slowed down before it landed. Supply drop, maybe. Let's ride out and take it.
Not bad, but he sounds a little meaner. Or a lot meaner.
Yeah, well, just be glad you're not gonna hear my Helena. Aussies with their funny accents. And don't even get me started on those Kiwis. Sheesh. Wasn't long before your dad had a whole machine shop up and running where he could start putting together his new toys. For a guy who keeps ending up in charge of people, I swear, Santiago was always happiest with a welding torch in his hands.
Guess I've never seen him happy then.
Oh, no, look, kid, I didn't mean that.
So what was Dad building with all that scrap you salvaged?
All-terrain vehicles, he called them. Low-slung four-wheelers built for speed and war. So your dad and me left the city walls and set out across the wastes to see what had been falling out of the sky. Those jumped-up go-karts of his could really move. I mean, I was hanging on for dear life, while Santiago laughed his butt off. Luckily, it was him behind the wheel, though, because one of those supply drops came crashing down, smack right in front of us.
Yikes.
When we tried prying the thing open, it trapped us inside some kind of force field, along with a bunch of crazy local wildlife.
There were still animals left alive?
If you could call that living. Poor critters were all messed up from the poisons out in the wastes, and they didn't much appreciate us. Wasn't easy, but Santiago and I eventually managed to fight our way through that whole pack of freaks and open up the supply drop. Inside was enough of that tech stuff to make your dad grin like it hit the jackpot. We crammed all we could fit into the trunk.
Are you sure that was my dad with you?
Yeah, it was him all right, and he said we're all gonna be okay, as long as those tech supplies keep crashing to Earth.
Yeah, like I said, doesn't sound like him.
But all our thoughts of long, easy lives went away real quick when we got our first look at old King Titan. Once we'd seen King Titan, we knew people weren't ever going to be in charge of a world with monsters that size stomping around. Your old man got his war wagon in gear and kept his foot on the gas until we were back inside the city walls.
Must have been huge if it scared Dad.
We'd never seen anything like it. Before we got back to camp, Santiago pulled over and made me swear not to tell anyone yet. He wanted time to come up with a new secret weapon, Something big enough to go toe-to-toe with that titan. I just nodded along and smiled, even though I knew we were all done for. Santiago picked a funny place to park and run his war plan by me on our way back to camp. I pointed out the flowers by the fountain and told him the Beast Queen, Mei Yin, had been leaving him in memory of Diana. That was when he told me he missed Diana himself. Even though they'd been on opposite sides of the last World War, the big guy seemed to have some real deep feelings after all.
Wait, they knew each other in their first life?
Yeah, kid. It almost seems like some people are meant to meet up again. Been thinking, maybe we're all here on this new world today for some reason like that.
Dad does always say, every day's another chance to do better. So, what was Dad's secret weapon to beat the Titan?
Well, he used all the scrap and tech we salvaged to build these skyscraper-sized battle bots. He called them mechs. And it turned out Santiago was one of the people best suited to fight inside those things, along with Mei Yin and, surprise, surprise, Diana.
Diana got brought back again? How?
To make a long, confusing story short, Little Miss Prof became all superpowered using the ARK tech and decided to, Santiago called it, respawn Diana for one last hell of a fight. And so, with the band back together again at the very end, how could we lose? It was game on.
Bob descreveu uma terra em ruínas, um cemitério de uma civilização tecnológica que era um choque absoluto para um soldado de seu tempo. Vimos como ele e Santiago desbravaram aquele deserto de concreto, subindo rampas em busca de suprimentos, até darem de cara com o Rei Titã. Mas o ponto alto foi a revelação da arma secreta do Santiago, os mechs, e claro, o respawn inesperado de Diana, trazida de volta pela Helena Homodeus para uma última batalha épica. Bob reviveu cada momento daquela luta, mas o que ele não esperava era que a maior revelação da noite não viria de suas histórias, mas sim da própria Meeka.
So it worked? You really did it?
I did have a little help. Actually, your dad. Well, he paid the big price to save everyone.
You mean he died there?
That's right, kid. As much as I like to take credit, your dad's the bona fide hero here. The real deal. When the chips were down and things looked real bad, Santiago never gave an inch.
I didn't know.
Yeah, he's kind of the strong, silent type. No Jimmy Cagney, that's for sure.
All these secrets. Why couldn't he just tell me?
Well, that's just the thing, kid. Nobody knows why we're all here now on this new world, when we were there before on Earth. I think, well, I better not tell you my crackpot ideas. But your dad's been trying to protect you until we figure out what the heck's going on here. Anyhow, those are the kind of tough calls a chief's gotta make.
I wish you'd have been chief instead. You might have let me use tech to bring my mom back.
Aw, kid. I didn't know your mom. But your dad, I'm sure he knows what she'd have wanted.
You knew my mom, dummy. Diana.
Huh? Oh. Oh, wow.
And I'm gonna bring her back. You'll see. I'm gonna find a way. No matter what.
A história de Bob termina com uma promessa de uma filha, que vai fazer de tudo para trazer sua mãe de volta, custe o que custar. Bob's Tall Tales nos mostrou que por trás de todas as histórias exageradas, existe uma conexão profunda entre os sobreviventes, que a gente nem imaginava. Se você curtiu o mergulho na história desses dois, não esquece de deixar seu like e se inscrever no canal. Comenta aí embaixo, qual foi sua história fantástica favorita do Bob? E o que você espera da próxima expansão Bob's Tall Tales, que chegará muito em breve junto ao Gênesis? Tamo junto e até a próxima.